there's only so many hours in the day, right? Everybody has the same amount of hours to get things done. So making sure that there's no wasted time in the day, I think is the most important part, because I want to be able to hang out with my kids when I get home in the afternoon. And if that means I'm going to be sitting on the couch watching Power Rangers, then
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. We are super excited today to have Sophie Coty, co-owner with her husband Blake of Coty & Co. They are a Keller Williams team. And Sophie, thanks for being on the show so much. We're so excited to have you. So Sophie, you have a great story. We'd love to hear about that today. If you could, we'll jump right in.
sure. Yeah. Where do you want me to start?
Yeah, so talk about we've known you for a long time, you and Blake. You guys just went into this real estate venture together. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what your plans are for it, and kind of what led to starting your team together?
Okay, so I got licensed in 2017. Prior to that, I was working with a home inspection company. And so I've always been super interested in real estate. I used to flip houses with my family. And so it just seemed like kind of a natural fit. At one point, I wanted to do staging and photography. And my then realtor said, no way, you would be a phenomenal realtor. So I got my license. And it's just been kind of, it took off immediately. And so, especially once COVID hit and the market exploded, it got really busy. So as my company started to expand and I was needing to add someone, it just made sense that my husband and I work so well together as a team that he joined me as my teammate. So it took a couple of years to get him on board. I think it took me 3 years of asking him for him to actually.
Yes, I remember.
So this past year, he finally, even with a full-time job, worked on getting licensed. So this fall, he officially joined me as my teammate, and we had a rollout, a big launch party at the beginning of this year. And so that's how we got to where we're at now.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Well, can you tell anything about the new added dynamic? You've seen us for a couple years with our friendship. Can you tell us about the new added dynamic of now a husband and a business partner, and what that looks like for y'all?
I know it added a lot of different dynamics for us. We had to kind of work through all that, so I know it can be difficult.
Well, so we had kind of worked together as a team beforehand because we also own a cabin rental business. And so we definitely each stayed in our own lanes, though. That's very much his baby. And I would just help with the acquisition. And then, of course, I love the whole decorating and staging aspect of it. So, but he does all of the management, all the maintenance, everything like that. So that wasn't really necessarily, we are a team, but that was more his thing. And so him joining my real estate company was definitely kind of more vice versa. He was jumping into something that I already had as like a really smooth running train. And so it's been interesting because I think anytime you have a teammate join you, you have expectations for what it's going to look like. And I think, anytime you have expectations, it can get dicey when you involve your marriage. So we also, we have a professional business coach. And so we've kind of worked through that with her over the past couple weeks, but we're still trying to figure out what our dynamic is. He's definitely much more business minded, and I am more about like relationships and ideas, and he's more of I'm going to put it in an Excel spreadsheet and see if we can make that work. And so he's like the yin to my yang. We vibe really well together, but it's also trying to figure out what are his strengths and weaknesses and what are my strengths and weaknesses, and how can we pair those together so that we maximize what we can achieve together as a team.
Okay, so you just mentioned the yin to your yang and how how you complement each other, but tell us how that actually works in business. And
I'm sure we've had challenges working together. So
even though you found kind of a natural partner there with your husband, how is that working, and what are some of the challenges to navigating that as a husband and wife and business partners?
And future businesses that you guys just started too, a design company.
Yeah, so I mean, full transparency, being in business with your spouse is hard. Anyone that says it's not, I would love to know the secret sauce. Because I mean, everybody handles problems in a different way. Everyone handles stress in a different way, and so real estate, it's like a roller coaster. We've had so many little micro shifts in the market in the past couple months, and sometimes it's feast or famine. And so, how do you adequately prepare with your partner for those times that aren't great? How are you business planning at the end of every year for next year? What does that look like? Who's the more risk tolerant person and who's the more risk averse person? And how do you marry that in between? So I think we each bring a different perspective to each scenario, and we have to duke it out sometimes and figure out what the right solution is for us. Whether it's negotiating a contract, whether it's, are we going to start this new business and can it be profitable, and what does that business plan look like? Even with just acquiring more rental properties, I mean, it all kind of coincides together. All of our businesses marry together quite nicely. But I think, getting to what Kyle is saying, just being in business with your spouse can be hard, because how do you shut it off at the end of the day? Especially when you have a job in real estate, right? Where people have access to you 24/7. And how do you create boundaries around protecting your family time and your date night time? I mean, you have to teach people how to respect your boundaries. But that means you have to know what they are and how to protect them. So it's all one big interesting puzzle that we're still working on putting together.
Yeah, we were going to an event last night, and we were dealing with some issues, and we're kind of going into it, and then we get there, and I'm like, okay, we need to smile and put on our happy face right now, because that car ride was kind of intense.
You mentioned expectations a couple times now. I wanted what are some things you do to set expectations, both with Blake and I guess with your customers too? I didn't think about that. It's like, hey, somebody might call you at 11 o'clock at night wanting to know about their offer or their house. So what are some of the things you do to set those expectations?
I think that happened when we were getting a closing and deal on one of the properties you helped us buy. Sophie's writing it up at 10 p.m. because you have to work when people are off.
So, one of the things I put in my little email signature is that, I have normal office hours. I'm available from 8 to 5. And then from 5 to 8, we technically go on airplane mode because we want to protect our family unit. And that's when our kids are, doing their sporting events and extracurricular activities. And we want to be fully present there for them during those activities and at that mealtime. And then, we turn it back off airplane mode at 8 o'clock, and we're there to answer any further questions between 8 and 9 o'clock at night, that we couldn't answer during the day, or things that arose, while we were spending time with our family. And, sometimes that trickles past 9 o'clock at night. Sometimes we're not hearing about an offer until 10 or 11:30. I know I was texting with a client until almost midnight last night. So, you kind of do what you have to. But, sometimes we'll just have to say at the end of the day, look, let's put this to bed right now because we're going to go to bed, and then we'll pick it back up first thing in the morning. But, as far as expectations with your spouse, I think, I had expectations about what it was going to be like having another teammate in the business. And then real estate is just one of those things where, because it's so relationship based, it really can take a long time to start to get into production. And, I just assumed that we would automatically be all my clients are our clients. And he very much is you have your business that you're running, and I have my clients of my sphere that I want to service. And so, I had an idea of what it would look like, and he had an idea of what it would look like. And so we've kind of had to meet in the middle there. And I think, he has been such a successful professional businessman for a long time, that letting someone else handle stuff for him, I think, is sometimes a challenge. And maybe that's why he wanted to service his clients and I service mine. But I think as we work more closely together, we kind of see how people, like how each of us handles scenarios and kind of let go of control over, each individual thing that arises. Because he'll call me and I'll be like, we need to put in an offer, and I know we're supposed to go to the Braves game tonight. Can you start writing that up? And then when I get home, I'll send it over and stuff. So, just working through each of those things so that you don't get disappointed with each other. And you have to communicate your expectations too, because if you don't know that the other person's expecting something from you, then how are you going to meet that expectation?
Yeah, there's times with us that I'll get to a stopping point and I'll say, hey, Kyle, do you need me to work on anything? He'll most of the time be like, no, I'm good. But yeah, having that communication. I was talking to somebody who was going to get married a long time ago. I don't remember when it was, but I was like, the magic is communication. There's no like sprinkle you can do that everything's perfect.
Yeah.
But when you can communicate and get your ideas out there to each other, it helps, like you said, bring the goals together and kind of come together as a business. So did you say you guys just started a staging company?
We did. So, as the market has shifted, we went back to a market, as the rates started to rise last June, all of a sudden, all these buyers that had been in the market just kind of dropped off. And so, there were less buyers in the market. And so it kind of helped with inventory. But all of a sudden, you couldn't just list your house exactly how it was and expect that it would sell. You had to make sure that it was appropriately positioned for buyers to walk in and say, this looks great, I want this house. So, I've always loved design. And so staging just seemed like the next natural step as far as our value proposition. And so, that's just something that I've really wanted to do since I first started, but now I'm in the position where I feel comfortable kind of rolling that out too. So as well as the staging for the listings, I also just love interior design. So, we help a lot of clients purchase Airbnb properties too. So I thought I would absolutely love to just help them get that set up. We know what people are looking for. So not only can I help somebody when they're walking through a home, visualize what it's going to look like, I can set up design boards for them. I can go help them pick stuff out. Yeah. So this is kind of where my creative side gets to kick in, and I'm really excited about it.
That's cool. That really brings you guys now. You're like a full service.
I know.
Yeah. You got the home inspection,
the real estate.
You got the real estate, the staging. You can kind of be a one-stop shop for everybody, and not have to farm as much stuff out too. That's very cool.
Keep it all in house.
So was that an intentional thing, or just something that maybe kind of fell in place over the years with that?
It started to fall in place, but this year I decided to be intentional about it. I decided I wanted to not just have it be part of Coty & Co., but I wanted to do a whole separate business for it. So, Blake, my business-minded partner, was like, you need to sit down and map out what it's going to look like. And part of what we're doing is trying to create a legacy for our children too. So with 4 kids, you never know what they're going to take to. So now they can join us in real estate. Maybe they can be part of the staging and design company. Maybe one will want to be a home inspector. But there's so many other opportunities too. We could have a moving company along with the staging.
Oh yeah, that's true.
All the stuff. There's lawn care. There's all sorts of things. So just kind of set up those platforms, cool. So that we can just kind of all keep it in the family. It's fun and it's exciting for us.
What's the name of your staging company?
Legacy Staging and Design.
Nice.
Okay, cool.
Well, I love seeing all your pictures on social media with the different things that you've been staging, and even what you said about curb appeal and landscaping. And you really, I know from our relationship with real estate and our friendship, hearing you talk about, you get one first impression. So can you talk a little bit about what buyers and sellers, what the buyers are looking for with a new house?
So we're actually moving away from like multiple different living spaces, and people want big kitchens. And so it's kind of, as builders with new homes are trying to figure out how to make that work, especially with building costs going up, it's basically cannibalized like the formal dining room space. And so now you have a lot of these like eat-in open concept kitchen areas. And that's what people are looking for. So they want to be able to go in, and especially moms, if they're cooking, they want to be in the kitchen, being able to see their kids playing or watching TV or, doing their homework or whatever. So everything used to be very compartmentalized in the house. And so people love the open concept. They want light, bright, clean, neat and organized. I think we're moving towards, everyone has a lot of stuff, but the more you can clear out your house so that people can see themselves in it, the easier it is for people to walk in and be like, once people start saying, I think our couch would go nice here. And once they start putting themselves and their furniture in the house, that they're actually able to visualize themselves there. So.
Yeah, I know when you were helping us sell a previous property, we had to clear out so much, minimalistic with things on the counters, and definitely take down all those pictures and depersonalize it, right?
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. People can't see themselves in the house when they walk in and see your family pictures everywhere. So it's not a bad thing. You've got a beautiful family. But they want to be able to see their family there. So,
yeah.
And in the Woodstock area too, there's great school systems. So the schools are really important as far as what people are looking for. We have all of these little walkable downtown areas now. So, and you have a whole bunch of commerce, even in just like the Alpharetta area. So, they can go down into Smyrna or Atlanta or Alpharetta. There's so many job opportunities, and parks and great schools. This is just a great area for people to be in.
Awesome. Well, what can you tell us about some of the real estate trends you're seeing now, both in Cherokee County, Georgia, and kind of nationwide as your affiliation?
Even in Blue Ridge and all our mountain property areas that we have close by.
Well, so each little micro market is very, very different. Atlanta has so much to offer as far as the job industry. And like I said, affordability. People feel like it's overpriced, but it's actually still one of the most affordable places for people to live, as far as like the salaries that they earn. And so, we had people flooding into the area, which means we have a low inventory. And so while we had that little micro shift last year, all of a sudden within the past month or two, we're back to seeing multiple offer situations. If your house is priced right, and if it's set up, if it's staged and decluttered, and if it's market ready and it's priced right, it's going to fly off the market right away with multiple offers. So, Kyle was mentioning setting expectations beforehand. That's a conversation that I have to have with people right now, because what they're hearing on the news is very different than what's happening in person. What they're hearing on the news is that the market's crashing and we're heading towards this recession, and that all of the housing starts are down and the numbers are down. But what we're feeling, every realtor in our office is feeling, is that there's no inventory. Our buyers are offering over list price. So there are still deals to be found, but you have to go find them off market. So, it's a really interesting, so setting expectations with people first. If a house pops up, we're going to have to see it right away. Chances are you're not going to be able to, if it's just popped up that weekend, there's going to be multiple offers and we're not going to be able to offer under list price. So just having those conversations first and asking your clients what their expectations are and what they're looking for, making sure everyone's on the same page is really important.
Okay.
Yeah. Communication with clients and customers as well. I think that's a great thing. I always brag on you, because when we sold our house last year, you were like, let's price it here. Mm-hmm. So we priced it right. We had it decluttered. I had, gotten a lot of things out that were all personalized. And then, we ended up having, 30 people come through the house in one weekend. And by Monday, we had 7 offers, all over list price, and we were closed. So I have to brag on you. And I love what you said about relationships, because you have these relationships with people. And, I know you have had repeat buyers and sellers. And I think that's so important especially in real estate, to have those relationships.
I was asked too, are you seeing the same type of trends in the vacation rental market, or is there anything changing in that market?
So, with the vacation rentals, you guys hit it right on the head with what you bought. It's actually, so the Blue Ridge area is starting to become very saturated with the vacation rentals, but you can't have just any old cabin in the woods. You have to have an experience. People want to come and enjoy an experience, and whether that means the mountain view or being on the water or super close to town, being able to be walkable, there has to be something different about it that makes people want to come. So I'm seeing houses pop back up on the market that, are maybe just a cabin in the woods and they're just sitting there. But those ones where, you're on water somewhere, they are flying off the market. And they are probably twice the amount per square footage as a normal home.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So, the cabins up there are smaller because you don't need as much living space because people are, going into town and they're spending time outside. So it's just another really interesting market.
That's cool.
Yeah. So no matter where you are, the market's going to be a little bit different. What you have to offer is different. What people are looking for is different. So.
Yeah. And I know you mentioned, and we know you have 4 kids, and kind of going back to managing a family. Can you share a little bit about some of your secrets on getting all that coordinated and making it all work?
It's time blocking. There's only so many hours in the day, right? Everybody has the same amount of hours to get things done. So making sure that there's no wasted time in the day, I think is the most important part. Because I want to be able to hang out with my kids when I get home in the afternoon. And if that means I'm going to be sitting on the couch watching Power Rangers, then so be it, but I can still sit and snuggle with them and answer some emails and stuff like that. So, but being able to be at their football practices and, I can do business everywhere I'm at because, like I said before, it's about relationships. So just being able to build relationships with people, I think we take our kids pretty much everywhere with us too. So even the events that we plan, we, our target audience is families with children because that's who we are. And so we figured if we want to figure out how to be successful in business, we have to do this just where we are. And so that's why we like spring festivals and Christmas parties and birthday parties.
The workout events, they were all working. I was like, this is awesome. Your son was on your shoulders and you're like, man, I'm sore right here where I was lifting. That was really sweet. I love that.
So just trying to figure out how to make it all work together and mesh together. And, it's tough. There's always, when you have so many balls up in the air, there's going to be a facet of your life that gets more attention at times. And so I think, I know with my calendar, it's all color coded. So all of my Keller Williams, real estate stuff is red. So if I start to notice my calendar is turning red, then I know I need to reincorporate some of that family time, and some of my date night time and stuff like that. So just trying to keep a healthy balance, I think is the most challenging, important part.
Thank you so much for being on the show, Sophie. I think we're out of time, but if you want to get in touch with you, what's the best way, social media channels and all that?
You can find me, you can Google me, Sophie Coty Keller Williams, and Facebook as well, Sophie Coty Keller Williams. And then we have our website, www.codyandco.com.
All right. Well, thank you, Sophie, again for being on the show. Everybody, hey, if you liked what you heard today on the Married in Business podcast, thank you for listening. Hit that like and subscribe button, and you can find us on all your favorite podcast platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Again, thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Sophie, for being on the show. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.